What's up, guys? NinjaNick333. We're here with another round of another league challenge. This is Poughkeepsie, New York, Champion Gaming. We've got Hannah on the right going first with a Lost Zone Goodra deck. She's been playing that pretty much since like Silver Tempest format. So she's got quite a lot of practice with it. She also got top 4 at a League Cup with it just a week before this was recorded as well. And we have myself here on the left playing Lugia just like I did at that other league challenge where I thought I performed okay. So I thought I'd try out the Lugia deck once again. Just because I loved Lugia in Silver Tempest format, but it's just so much more clunky. So we'll have to see if I'm able to get there. I do play the 1-1 Urshifu VMAX line, so I do have a pretty decent out to the Goodra. I just have to be able to set it up. So Hannah goes first. She's able to use Flower Selecting, gets down a Greninja and Concealed cards. Only one card in the Lost Zone, and that's the turn there. She was not able to get any other Comfeys out. No Battle VIP passes or anything. So that is a pretty big opening for me. But as you can see in my opening hand here, I have a research with 2 urns, and I basically am forced to play it. I actually have 2 research in that hand. I do get an Archeops in the discard pile. I could have used Luminion to grab a Judge, but I felt that Hannah's start was so poor that I don't really want to judge her on this turn. I'd rather judge her in a future turn when she has even more cards in hand, once she starts getting stuff a little bit set up, but right before she is able to Mirage Gate, and that would work out pretty well. But of course, I research and I find no Lugia Vs, of course. So I have the Urshifu V down. I just slap a V-Guard energy on it, and I hope to keep it protected here on the bench as I try to just manually power it up over the course of multiple turns. And the only supporter I do have in hand right now is the Judge, so I'm going to be forced to use that the next turn. So hopefully I draw something pretty hot off those 4 cards. We see Hannah does get down a second Comfey. We've used the first Flower Selecting, got rid of a switch that way. So if we're able to see a Chorus's Experiment this turn, I'm going to be pretty much punished and might as well just go on to, you know, the next game at that point. She does get a Goodra down, but as you can see here, she's not playing a Chorus's Experiment out immediately, so that goes to show that she still does not have that in her hand. So she's at 3 cards in the Lost Zone, no Chorus. She's going to be at least one more turn away from Mirage Gating at this point, so I'm feeling a little bit comfortable, even though I still don't have a Lugia out over the course of potentially 2 turns. So of course I top deck another Archeops, and if that was a research in my hand, I would go ahead and play that. Even though I'm getting rid of all of that energy, I think it would still be fine. Just get the second Archeops in the discard pile. I still have 2 more Lugia V-Stars after the one that's in my hand, but unfortunately my only option is to play the Judge. I need to get a Lugia V down as soon as possible, because this Lugia V-Star deck cannot use Summoning Star unless you can get to that V-Star, and in order to evolve into the V-Star, you need the V. So hoping to hit something pretty hot off of this Judge here. And by pretty hot, I mean maybe like Archeops Research, Lugia V. So we get rid of that big hand of Hannah's, which of course did not have much of anything else. We see she does draw a Battle VIP pass off of that 4-2, so gotta feel pretty good about that. If you're me, of course, did not know that at the time, but I do get a Single Strike Energy, attach it, and pass. Can't even use Laser Focus because I'm not playing any basic energies, and my hand is 2 Lugia V-Stars and a double Turbo Energy. So at this point, if I have a brain, I should just scoop and go on to the next game. But of course, brain small that day, so my brain is pretty small at league challenges, I gotta say. I play well at like only regionals. And we do see, of course, she did get to the Chorus's Experiment. So again, at this point, should just be scooping to save time. This is a best 2 out of 3 challenge. They always do that at this location, best 2 out of 3. So if I want to make sure I can beat Goodra, games can go kind of long with these Lost Box style decks. So might as well save some time, as I always preach. But her start was so slow that I'm like, nah, I can top deck maybe a Research or another Judge, and then maybe I can get a Lugia V-Star down. But then at that point, Hannah still has this turn to be able to play the game, and then the next turn to be able to set up even more in the lost zone. Look at how many are in the lost zone there for her. So at this point, I'm just being stubborn. I know in my head, as I was playing, that I should be scooping, but I just wanted to be stubborn about it because her start was so slow and bad that I feel like I should be able to capitalize on it. But of course, my slow is even more slow and even more sad and dead. So she's going to go in. We've done 2 flower selecting so far. Here is the concealed cards to draw another 2 cards. So now Hannah has a pretty big stacked hand. Off of my 4-card judge, I managed to judge her into essentially the nuts. We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. We are at 7 in the lost zone. So at this point, Hannah will be able to Mirage Gate as soon as she is able to find one. It looks like her hand isn't as big as I thought. It's like 6 cards maybe. So I'm just hoping at this point that she doesn't find a Mirage Gate over these next couple of turns. I could just hard attach to this Urshifu multiple times and try to get there. And here I go. I attach a double turbo energy, which was my draw for turn. My hand is still double Lugia and double turbo energy. And I just pass again. So, I mean, obviously still being stubborn, but at this point, all that I need is one more single strike energy and I can start attacking. So my thought was maybe I could, you know, get an energy down on that and then maybe hit into a Goodra V at some point, take a nice knockout, but of course she evolves that. So she's got the two Goodra V-Stars. Remember, Goodra V-Star does have that ability, Moisture Star. Everybody loves the word moist. It does allow you to fully heal your Goodra, and of course, as a V-Star power, that ability is once per game. And we even see, for good measure, she's getting a Cramorant here. All that she really needs is to finish setting up a Goodra and just attack, and at that point, I should just scoop. Yep, so we go attach, retreat with the Beach Court, and we are able to see a hit for 200, minus 30 from the V-Guard. I don't do that immediately. I put 200 down, but I do figure that out in a minute. I do get a Serena here. I discard my whole hand. That's 2 of my 3 Lugia V-Stars. So, again, not sure what I'm even looking for at this point. I do get the Lugia V down. I also get the single strike energy so I can attack. But I will die to an upcoming Rolling Iron. So there is the single strike energy. I have the Lugia V on my bench now. I have the Poughkeepsie. I think about benching it just to get rid of the Beach Court, but I don't feel like putting the Poughkeepsie down on the bench is that good of a play. Just because it could always be bossed up if Hannah wants to save some time. And I hit into her, which is 120 damage because of the minus 80 from Rolling Iron. And that's when I noticed the V-Guard energy, so I should be at 170 damage. But again, does not matter. I will just die to another Rolling Iron. So I think my thought process here was my next draw for turn could be Lugia V-Star, and then I will be able to play the game. I could force her to use the Moisture Star here now, but there's no way that I can attack with even 2 Lugia during this match because I've already discarded 2 V-Stars, so I would have to attack with a regular V. And hitting for 130 minus 80 is pretty awful. So I have no business continuing to play this game. I've also been looking at my watch here, and the minutes are ticking through. It's been at least, I think, 10 minutes right now. Yeah, I mean, on my recording, I'm at 9 minutes and 20 seconds, so. Save that time for game 2 and 3. So here I go. Promote that Lugia V. And just I draw an Archeops and I go, okay, I scoop. So that was sensible to scoop. And of course, double Mesagosa. I think double Ultra Ball even in my prize cards. That was really rough for me there. And we're just going to go into game 2 and hope that that is going to work out a lot better for myself here. So The Goodra matchup should be about 50-50 as long as I can get the single strike Urshifu off at some point. But even if you do get it off, the next Goodra comes back up and you need to double earn in order to recharge it up. And that feels really bad. If you play one impact energy in the deck, you only need to earn once because you have one more energy that can be attached to an Urshifu. Let's see, you would do 2-7. Yeah, so the math on that doesn't end up mattering because you one-shot even without the bonus from any single strike energies. Because it does hit through the -80, it does not care about the -80. It ignores it with G-Max one blow. And of course my camera is sitting on the table this time, so every time we like go to cut my deck and stuff, the camera does shake a little bit. So I do apologize for that. But that was the best way to set it up. There wasn't any floor space here, but there's plenty of table space. So I have a little bit better of a starting hand. I do have a Lugia. I'm considering starting with the Evital because if I do, I will be able to knock out a Comfey with it if I put like 2 single strike energies on it. If I put the Lugia up first, I could get hit by a Cramorant, and I really don't want that. So I do go in with the Lugia, the Evital start instead of the Lugia start. So it really just depends on how both players draw and whether or not I'm going to end up regretting that or not. So I do get one Lugia. I drew another one for a turn, so I could just leave it with this one Lugia. If the one gets damaged by something like a Cramorant, I still I want to make sure I have bench space for a single strike Urshifu. So I want to make sure that there's at least one bench space open. I need 2 for Archeops, so long as I'm able to get to that. So I do bench the second Lugia, I attach the double turbo energy, and I just pass. So overall, not too bad. Lugia into the Goodra isn't that bad of an attacker, because you can always discard their Temple of Sinnohs if they're playing them. Although I don't think that Hannah's playing any temples. I think she's only on the beach court. So her deck a little bit more consistent, but worse Lugia matchup in that regard. Usually when I play against Goodra, the key turns come from them being able to put down a Temple of Sinnoh I can't replace. So we do get a second flower selecting off by using this switch here. We were able to use our heavy ball, but it did fail. Drapion in the Lost Zone immediately. And then we get a Goodra V-Star as well. This deck usually plays a 3-3 Goodra line and you only use 2. So getting rid of 1 early isn't that bad. We're also seeing an Ultra Ball here. So that'll come and get the Goodra most likely. It might also get just like a Greninja if she wants to draw more cards. But Goodra makes sense here. You want to get that down earlier so that you can, of course, evolve it the turn you need it. Attaches a Metal Energy and passes over to me. So I draw here, draw a double turbo. So I have the option to attach it to either Lugia. If I attach it to the one that already has a double turbo on it, it will be fully charged, but it will be doing -40. So I choose to attach it to the second Lugia. I'm not sure if that's the correct or incorrect decision, but as you can see, starting that Evital ended up being bad, because if I just started the Lugia here, I would have been able to attach the second double turbo energy and already be able to attack without even needing any Archeops in play, and it would give me a little bit extra time to try to set that up. And it would also cut Hannah off from one of the Comfeys, so that was a pretty big misplay there, not starting with the Lugia. But if I had double Lugia in hand to start, I probably would have done that. But of course I top decked one for turn on my first turn, so that's why I played it like that. I also did put down the Tyranitar V before the research because I feel like Tyranitar is a pretty good attacker, but it doesn't one-shot a Goodra. And Goodra usually plays a Choice Belt, so they can always one-shot my Tyranitar. So I think benching the Tyranitar here was really bad. And also, because at this point, With the new hand that I drew off of the research, it wasn't quite good enough. I flipped tails on this Capturing Aroma, and I'm considering going for the Luminion. Or maybe I already have the Luminion in hand. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, so I think I tried to get an Archeops off of that, but failed. And now I have the Luminion here. I could research. I do have a pretty big hand. That would be a lot of resources being discarded. 2 Boss's Orders even, which I really do not want to get rid of in this matchup. And here is the Luminion. I need to get the Archeops out again because I did not start the Lugia. I have not been able to just attack. And of course, Hannah just like flower selected and passed too. So had I been able to start the Lugia, I would have knocked out the first Comfey, and then this next turn I would have knocked out the next Comfey. She'd have 3 cards in the Lost Zone and 0 Comfeys in play after this turn that I'm on now. So I go Luminion for Burnett to get those Archeops in the discard pile, but since I only have 1 bench space remaining because I stupidly benched that Tyranitar, I am only able to get 1 Archeops out now, and that's pretty big in this matchup. There's a lot of times where getting 1 Archeops is sufficient in Lugia, especially if it never gets bossed up and knocked out. But getting 1 out in this matchup is really bad because they could always just boss Rolling Iron, knock out the Archeops, and you haven't been able to build up enough energy on the board total. So I do go for that Evital attack like I wanted to in the beginning, be able to knock out the Comfey, but again, this is 1 more turn of flower selecting that she is able to do that I should not have allowed her to do. Looks like she gets an Escape Rope and a Water Energy off of that. Chooses to keep the Water Energy, likely because she can just attach it. Or if she gets into the Radiant Greninja, she will be able to just discard that to draw another couple of cards. The Greninja should be in her deck because we did see her fail the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So Hannah's looking through her Lost Zone, deciding what she wants to do here off of this Pokegear. I would assume if you get Colress, you should just take the Colress. But she's going to go for the Melanie, which I'm not sure if I agree with there. She does have the Water Energy in hand. But by not going for the... And she has 1 in discard as well. So she can Melanie to get the Goodra fully charged up here. But I think going for the Colress, you're at 4 cards. That puts you at 6. Hopefully you can get another Comfey and a switch card off of that. And you can go for your Mirage Gate. So I don't know. The Melanie does allow you to attack here so long as you draw into a way to switch. So I guess the Melanie is fine here. But it doesn't feel good because you're not advancing your Lost Zone. So if I'm able to get through this first Goodra, she might not have a way to set up the second one. So she does have a Beach Court in hand. I see no reason why to not just retreat and attack with the Goodra. You're not really being threatened by anything on my board. You know that my next attackers are likely going to be Lugia, because if I were to charge to a Tyranitar, not only do I have at most only 2 Single Strike energies left, but I can only charge 2 energy a turn, so I would also have to have an attach for turn of a double turbo energy to my Tyranitar in order to be able to attack with that, and I already have 2 double turbo energies on both of my Lugias, so while I didn't realize it at the time, I am in a pretty awful position that I played myself into. They gave out these little raffle tickets for an ETB while we were at this league challenge, so she's using that as her V-Star marker now. She just realized she didn't have one out. So, of course, it's pretty easy in decks like Lugia and Goodra to remember whether or not you've used your V-Star power. But it's always good to have that marker out anyway. It is kind of required, even. So I'm going for the Ultra Ball. I get rid of yet another Archeops and a Lugia V, both kind of dead cards that are in my hand. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I want to go for. I think I just go for the second V-Star here, just to evolve the other Lugia. There's really no reason to get anything out of my deck. There's nothing that I need. I'm just playing the Ultra Ball to thin my hand in case I get, like, Rock Sand later. Because I know that Goodra does play that. They never play Judge, but they usually play 1 Roxanne. So I do go get the Lugia V-Star. I am able to use my 1 Archeops here to charge up my active with 2 more energies. So we are going to go for the V-Guard and Gift Energy. That is the pretty stellar combo that Lugia is able to go for. It reduces the likelihood of you getting one-shot by certain things. Of course, does not really matter in the Goodra matchup. It matters if you're unevolved and there's the choice belt, of course. But if you're evolved, the V-Guard doesn't matter too much. But if you do get knocked out, the gift energy does allow you to draw until you have 7 cards in your hand. Usually that means just drawing into some energies you'd rather have in deck. So I do go for the boss's orders, and because I do have the double turbo energy on here, I am actually not able to get a one-shot. I would be able to if I had 2 Archeops and could have gone for 4 regular colorless energy, special energies, but we only go for 200, so it lives on 20. So she is not Moisture Starred yet. If she is able to evolve, she will be able to Moisture Star that entire hit right off. So I'm kind of risking it a little bit, but that is my best play that I have at the moment, is to just lock that active. And, you know, maybe the next turn I boss up the Goodra V-Star if the active Goodra isn't able to retreat or switch. And then I can get a good hit onto the V-Star through the, or not having to go through the -80. And then I force her to choose which one she's going to Moisture Star. So she plays an escape rope here, and I don't really have anything good to put up. I don't want to really sacrifice anything here, but I just put up the other Lugia. I'm like, you know what? My next attacker is mostly going to be the Lugia. I should just put that up. If I put up the Luminion, like I kind of really want to, she's just going to take 2 free prize cards, and I don't want to be that far behind right now. So I go for the 200 hit on this new Lugia I just put up, and it doesn't feel good. But then, of course, Hannah just has the boss's orders anyway, gets rid of the Archeops, puts her back on even prize cards as well. So she is going to just be able to take 2 Lugia knockouts to win the game. And those are my only attackers. I now have to hard attach to this Lugia V-Star, and I still want to set up a single strike Urshifu to be able to actually get through the Goodra. So I put down this Radiant Serena just in case it might help me heal. And I put down a second Tyranitar. I believe that either one of the Urshifu pieces was prized or I had to discard one early. I can't remember. I don't think... No, it doesn't look like I discarded an Urshifu at all. Yeah, so I don't really know why I benched that second Tyranitar. That feels pretty bad. So we'll have to see if I'm able to pull this game back out, but Goodra is just such an awful matchup for quite a lot of decks, and if you are not able to get to that Urshifu, it just feels like you're fighting an uphill battle. It would be fine if the Goodra just had -80 or just had the Moisture Star, but it happens to have both. So here, oh, that's why. So I benched the Tyranitar so that I could knock the Luminion into my discard pile with the Collapse Stadium. Knowing full well that she's most likely going to replace the stadium with another beach court, freeing up another bench space to put the single strike Urshifu down. So yeah, that was correct to put the Tyranitar down there. It's a little unfortunate that I did not have the Urshifu there, because it would have been better to have that instead of the T-Tar. I do get a V-Guard energy down on my Lugia, so I am going to hit with my active Lugia. That's 200 minus 80 is 120. I think I put 180 on the Goodra as an accident, but we fixed that almost immediately here. Yeah. So she puts it to the 120. It's a little hard to see because of the glare, but that's 120 now. I was thinking -80, so then somehow that turned into 180 in my head. I don't know why. So, of course, is Experiment. Gonna look at the top 3 cards. Looks like she easily chose 2, but she's not sure which is the third that she's going to keep, which 2 she wants to put in the Lost Zone. I think there's probably like 2 cards in there that she really both doesn't want to put in the Lost Zone or both wants to keep. Or maybe that's the 3 that she's putting in her hand and she's Lost Zoning the other 2. But either way, still have to set up the Urshifu without an Archeops. So that's like 4 single attachments. So the game is pretty much already in Hannah's hands here. It looks like she Lost Zones Water Energy and Metal Energy. It's not ideal to get rid of energy like that, but of course, you gotta do what you gotta do. I think she might still have energy in hand. She still should have plenty in deck as well. She asks me she's like, I don't even know how many are in the lost zone while I'm checking. And I'm like, there is 7. And she's like, oh, cool. So I do feel the Mirage Gate is coming. There is the bump of the Collapse Stadium as expected. And we just have to see is there a Mirage Gate this turn. Even still, she should play at least 2 Melanie, so she could always get another Melanie and then attach for a turn, and then one more attachment gets her to the V-Star. So she's deciding whether or not she wants to heal the bench or the active, and because I'm only able to attack with the Lugias here, I'm actually 3-shotting her. So she's fine with the 120 damage on the active. That's why I would have loved to bench that if the other Goodra stayed one more turn in the active, but she got that escape rope, so oh well. So fully heals the 200 off the bench one, and now neither are in range of being knocked out in one more hit, so I really got to navigate how I'm going to be able to do this, because this Lugia in the active only lasts one more turn. The one on my bench can only last 2 turns. And it's going to take me like, what, 5 turns to knock out both Goodras, and then I'm still left with 1 prize. So at this point, I know that I've probably just lost the game, but I'm still trying to play it out just in the off chance that maybe Hannah makes a mistake, or she just starts drawing bad, never gets the second Goodra set up. If she never gets energy on the second Goodra, like, I basically win, so. So I Capturing Roma and Ultra Ball just to thin the deck, trying to get rid of anything that's dead as possible in there. I do have the Urshifu, but I think the VMAX Urshifu is either in hand right now or it's in the deck. Or the prize cards. So I think I did prize it from... I don't remember. This was like only like 3 days ago, so I don't know how I forgot already. So I just get a Luminion just to have it for a future turn. I don't think I'm going to bench it here yet. Or at least at the moment, I don't think that I'm doing that yet. My hand is really weird as well. I think I have... What's it? Penny? Or maybe not yet. So I go attach the Single Strike energy to the Tyranitar because I know I'm never going to be able to get to the Urshifu. And I just hit the active for another 120 damage. So I'm both times cutting it really close on declaring the discard of the Beach Court here. I think I did that. I think that's the second time this game where I did that. But you got to make sure you declare that before your opponent draws for turn. And she draws really fast, so... Brain just working a little slow that day. Oh, there it is. I have the VMAX in hand. So yeah, why didn't I just Ultra Ball for the Single Strike Urshifu V and bench that instead of going for the Luminion? And then I could have attached the Single Strike energy to that. I guess the VMAX still gets knocked out in 2 hits, but I don't know. If I get a V-Guard energy on it, that's 170, 170. No, it's still knockout. Basically, the key takeaway here is that the starting the Lugia would have benefited me a bunch. So here I go with the gift energy, gonna draw up until we have 7 cards in hand. Oh yeah, here's where I draw the penny. So I do a weird play with the penny. So I gotta choose who I'm putting active. You do draw with the gift energy first because your Pokemon is knocked out. Then you promote, then you draw for turn. So getting the draws off that gift energy does help you identify a little bit what your next most likely play should be. I do get another energy attachment to power up this Lugia in the active spot. I do have the Urshifu now, but it is too late. I've already attached to the Tyranitar. And it would still take 4 turns to go for that. So here, I think... Okay, I remember what I was doing. So I'm considering playing the penny to pick up one of the Tyranitars to get that Single Strike energy back in my hand for the Urshifu. Thinking of just attacking here as well. I can't remember if I do it this turn or next turn. So I'm like trying to do the math. I do knock out with the Lugia here. And then I'm still going to have to go through the Goodra. So what I do is I go Luminion, and I'm looking for a boss's orders, which I believe are both in the discard pile now. I think I played one, and then I might have discarded the other, because I'm pretty sure I had both in hand at one point during this game. So, of course, do not have another boss's orders in there. I think I prized Serena as well. Or was that off my first research? But either way, I was trying to go for the boss on the benched Goodra, knowing that she can't use the V-Star power again. The damage is safe on this active Goodra, so if I was able to get a big hit on the benched one now, that would actually put me back in a position to still win the game. But since I was not able to go for that, I did grab Judge out of my deck, and I don't want the Luminion sitting there as a liability on my bench, so I used the penny to pick it back up. So I managed to get the Judge into my hand. So that's a little bit of an awkward, weird play. But I had to get rid of that Luminion, otherwise I just immediately lose to a boss's orders. Like Mirage Gate boss's orders. So active Goodra is knocked out. And now I'm going to have to like 3-shot this Goodra on the bench too. So if I was able to boss there, again, would have been a huge swing. Being able to do the full, like, basically 200. And then another 120 after the -80 the next turn would be able to finish it off. And then by that point, I might have enough energy on my Tyranitar, especially if I'm able to find my last double turbo energy, where I could single strike Crush for the knockout. So Hannah's deciding what she wants to do here. Looks like she's going to go for the Raihan, of course, because it plays 2 Melanie and a Raihan. So she is able to get the energy onto the Goodra, is able to search her deck for any one thing. All she needs is a switching card, basically. So an Escape Rope would be really dirty here, because that would force me to put up either one of the Tyranitars or the Serena. I would definitely put up the Serena and just let it get knocked out. That would put Hannah back on odd prizes. She Ultra Balls away 2 Battle VIP Pass to get another Comfey. Her deck is very small now. It's like, what, 7 cards maybe? And she has a huge hand as well. So she does have the switch already. She is going to switch into the Goodra, and she's going to hit me for the 170 because of my V-Guard energy. And now I have a real big decision to make. Do I just let the Lugia go down? Because it does die in 1 hit now. And I need a double turbo to even attack with a Tyranitar. But if I do, it's going to do 0 damage because right now I'm doing 60. And then -80 from the Goodra V star. And yeah, Tyranitar just ends up milling 2 cards. So I'm like, well, Hannah's deck is small enough. Maybe there's a way I can just try to mill her out. I'm like playing to any out I could potentially go for here. We go for Nest Ball just to fail it. Just trying to thin out as much as possible in case she does play Roxanne or something. I'm considering playing the Judge as well. Hannah does have a big hand. But again, really just like need a boss's orders. Maybe bring up the Greninja right now and hope that she doesn't have a switch card. But I go for the Judge. I'm not going to be able to really mill her out here. And I need 1 more turn to attach to this Tyranitar. So I'm going to make what is a little bit of a cute play here. And it's going to really matter what she gets off of this Judge if I'm able to see the Judge stick or not. But remember, her deck was pretty small. It's pretty likely that she was able to thin out most of the dead cards that she had. So she should still draw pretty well off this judge, but I have to go for whatever my out is. I retreat the Lugia and into the Radiant Serena and pass. I completely forget to heal with the Serena as well. So should have healed with the Serena. Did not do so. And then at that point, I think Hannah... Oh, yeah. Hannah put down the boss's orders. Again, hard to see because of the glare, but that is the Cyrus Art boss's orders. She's just able to bring up the Lugia and take the knockout. Even if I did use the heal from the Serena, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have still been knockout, but... either way, got royally obliterated in that match. Game 1, I had no shot. Should have scooped away earlier. And Game 2, I just should have started the Lugia. And then not benched that Tyranitar, that one turn that made it so that then I couldn't get double Archeops in play. So Game 2 lost because I played... saying suboptimally is not good enough. So as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe and all of that good stuff. We will see you guys next time.